Welcome to another episode. In today's episode, the lecture series, we'll be seeing the topic about wisdom. This is related to the question, why is intelligence more common than wisdom? Intelligence is more common because it is comparatively easy. It is based on knowledge. You study in one or many fields, you go deeply into that, become an expert in that, you practice it, you implement it, then you become intelligent. At least an expert in one field or many. And wisdom is not that. It is not accumulated knowledge. It is about self-discovery, self-understanding. So it is not done that way. It is not accumulation at all. It cannot be taught by a tutor. It is self-knowledge, understanding of oneself. So that is why it is not common. It is difficult. It is not in the books. It is not in the knowledge. Experience can help a little bit. Knowledge can help a little bit. That's all. But you have to understand yourself. Next, we will see a few lines from J.Krishnamurti's talks in 1949 and 50. He says, self-knowledge is the beginning of the wisdom. Without self-knowledge, you cannot have wisdom. You cannot know anything. If you know something, you will misuse it without self-knowledge. So mere intelligence without wisdom is going to create only chaos because people are going to misuse it. To pursue the master is easy, but to have self-knowledge, to be passively watchful of every thought is very difficult. It requires energy. You have to watch your every move, your thoughts, your actions. And identification and judgments prevent that understanding. If you watch passively, the thing that you watch begins to unfold, and then there is that which renews itself from moment to moment. So that's what J.Krishnamurti calls it, wisdom. So wisdom is not a goal of life. It is not a purpose of life. It is not something which is acquired. It is to know facts about yourself. Knowledge and wisdom are separate things. That's what he says. Is wisdom to be acquired little by little? No. Is it stored up experience? No. Because acquisition implies accumulation. Experience implies residue. It is past. That is not wisdom. The inherited residues as knowledge prevent understanding, prevent wisdom. That's what he says. And further, he says truth cannot be accumulated. It is not experience. It is experiencing, in which experiencer is not there and experience is not there. So J.Krishnamurti says it is an experiencing in which there is no experiencer or the experience. The division is not there. In the knowledge there is an experiencer and an accumulator. When that accumulator or experiencer is absent, then there is wisdom. Wisdom is always fresh, ever new. It is not a continuity. Knowledge or intelligence is continuity. You improve upon it. You dwell upon the accumulated knowledge from the past. But wisdom is not accumulation, it's ever fresh. It is the ending of the knowledge. When there is ending, then there is creative understanding. But we want to continue with the past, continuity of experience. That is the requirement of the mind. But in that, wisdom is not there. It is merely a projection, creation. There is no creation. So truth comes only when the mind is empty of all the thought, of all the experience. And that is called wisdom. What he finally says is, when mind is empty of all the past, of knowledge, of all the thought, of all the experience, then there is truth, and that is called wisdom. This is what J.Krishnamurti says. And further we will see a few lines from Osho from his book Be Still and Know. Osho says wisdom is intrinsically true because it is an existential experience. Wisdom is existential. It is not from books. It is not from others. It is not something gathered from books or scriptures. It is something grows in yourself, in your heart. It is a growth, not an accumulation, not information. Wisdom makes you innocent, whereas knowledge is ego strengthening. Ego feeds on knowledge. It is the best tonic for the ego. But wisdom is there when there is no ego. Wisdom appears only on the depth of the ego. Mind is interested in knowledge, not in wisdom, because wisdom is born in an empty space where there is no mind, whereas knowledge thrives on the mind, accumulation. So mind is afraid of wisdom because mind does not want to commit suicide. So that is what Osho says. Then we will see a story, small story. There was a monk, a wise man. He was not only a wise man, he was a monk. He was not only a monk, he was a wise man. And he taught his disciples from an inexhaustible storehouse of wisdom. Whatever he told it was full of wisdom. His advice, his answers, everything was full of wisdom. The disciples wondered from where he got that wisdom. He always used to show a book and tell, all my wisdom is from this book. And he would not allow anyone to open that book. He never showed anyone the book. He never allowed anyone to touch it. It was kept under lock and key in his room. So as days went by, this monk grew old, the master grew old and died a natural death. After mourning his death, everybody first wanted to see that book. They went to his room, opened his cupboard and took out the book so that the wisdom can be seen by everybody. They just opened the book. It was a big volume, but there was only one page, and even in that page only one line was written. Rest of the pages were blank, empty. The whole book was empty except for one page and one line. And they read it. The sentence read, when you realize the difference between the container and the content, you will have knowledge. When you know the difference between the container and the content, you will have knowledge. Actually, knowledge here refers to wisdom. So here the container is the consciousness or soul or whatever you call it. And the content has no value. It changes. It is thoughts. That is mind. So when you know or understand the difference between the mind and the consciousness, you will have wisdom. That is what the line meant, and that is the end of this story and end of this episode. So intelligence is easy, knowledge is easy, but wisdom is harder, difficult. It requires energy, and for you to work upon yourself, understand yourself. With this, we will end this episode. Stay with me for another episode. Subscribe to my channel and share this video. Thank you.